Hello, and welcome to Ninja Academy's segment extension tutorial. An extension is the extra time added to a segment after the voice ends.
Charles Frohman.
When a segment ends at the same time as the voice or on-screen text, there often isn't enough time for viewers to read and process what the subtitle says. Similarly, for on-screen text that is 1 second or less, a 1 second extension is needed. So whenever possible, we add a 1 second extension to the segment. To create a perfect extension, use the F key to pause as soon as the last word in the segment is uttered. Press the right arrow key once. This will fast forward the green line 1 second after the spoken word. This will give you the perfect 1 second extension. Then use the space bar to close the segment. Sometimes there will not be room for a full 1 second extension between segments. Here is a segment without any extension.
No, he can't. We worked like dogs on this score, Jim. And I had all my...
Even though there is not room for the full 1 second extension, we need to add as much extra time to the segment as we can. As you can see, there is a gap of about a half a second between the last word in the segment and the next segment. When this happens, simply extend the segment to the beginning of the next segment. There should be no longer any gap between the two segments. Let's look at another segment. Here is a segment that already has a 1 second extension.
After he bought it, I was going to jump the next boat for England.
I'd forgotten about that young lady.
Wait a minute.
The next segment starts 0.4 of a second later. If you have read about gaps in the segmenting guide, remember that we avoid gaps smaller than 0.5 of a second or half a second to minimize the flashing of subtitles. So, we need to extend the segment even more than the 1 second extension to close the gap. In order to avoid gaps between segments that are smaller than half a second, the longest your extension should be is 1.5 seconds. To summarize, add a 1 second extension to your segments whenever possible. If there is a gap of less than 0.5 of a second after a segment that already has a 1 second extension, extend the segment to close in the gap.